Hey guys, it's Angie, and I'm playing Shrouded Isle still, again, continuously. Anyway, what I'm doing right now. Last time we managed to sacrifice a sinner, and our god was satisfied, but unfortunately, it didn't make the family happy. So you know that's just a thing we have to do in here. Anyway, previously I mentioned to you that you can confine people in a tower to discover their traits or to heal them if they are afflicted. And as you can see here, we found one afflicted person, so we will send her to be purified. Because once she's purified, she'll have her normal trait again. And here we can see that none of these people are afflicted, although we don't know the negative trait of Ludmila. But usually affliction, I think I haven't seen it once to be reflected in the negative trait. It only affects positive trait, because then you have minus to two different traits. For example, if he was rabid, he would have minus 10 to obedience and then minus 20 to fervor, which is bad. So anyway, let's release those guys because they are unaffected. They are not affected anymore. We have still people that we could send to the tower to see if they are afflicted. But first, I would prefer to find people who might be acting strangely. Like, for example, Zaina. And let's see. Oh, thank God. House Blackburn doesn't have anybody that's afflicted. And we have Rada, who is obedient. I think we'll appoint her the next advisor because we need to work on our obedience. But she is undisciplined. And if I remember correctly, we need to find a swindler. And swindler is unpenitent. Yes. He is this is a major vice of somebody who is not penitent. So we have to find people with a negative trait. Stubborn. Oh, at least we know that he has a minor affliction, a minor vice here. So we know that it's not him. Unrepentant. Okay. We might have to find... This is House Yosefka. They are already dissatisfied. This is not good. We need to... First thing, we need to find a person who is the swindler. And we need to sacrifice them to our god. Embezzler, okay, but this is not what we're looking for. House Cagney, they are relatively neutral. Cadwell is pretty satisfied, so I might want to, but there's not many of them here. Okay, I have 2 inquiries remaining, so let's check your vice, undisciplined. This is pretty problematic considering that his house is responsible for discipline. But who else we might want to take? We have a lot of penitents, but if we want to find somebody who is not who is a swindler, we might want to take somebody who is not penitent. But here we don't have anybody, so let's take Aaron. He's disobedient, which isn't perfect, considering that we need to work on our obedience. Or you know what? He only has minus 10, and he has obedience, so he will bring up both discipline and obedience. So let's take him. Oh, and we have another inquiry. Oh, I forgot. So let's check how obedient he is. Unquestioning, he is very obedient, so he'll bring a lot here. So we might want to take him. So this is a good choice. But this is House Cadwell, and this would be potentially who I might want to sacrifice, because I cannot sacrifice anybody from House Yosefka, but from the number of people here, this is most likely that they have somebody who is... let's check you out. They are dissatisfied. How much? -30. So I think rather than that, I will check your virtue, because as you can see, it does not cost anything here. Penitent. Okay. Okay. You need fervor. You are unrepentant, so you might be. But then again, I don't want to sacrifice you. But still, I will appoint you as an advisor. Because if we discover that he's a swindler, then we will sacrifice him next season. Because seriously, this season I cannot sacrifice anybody from House Yosefka. Because first thing, they are dissatisfied. So they are already at -30 in satisfaction. But also, so even if it was a just sacrifice, then their satisfaction would drop down by 30 and it would be -60, which would be horrible. But it wouldn't go down by -30. It would go down by -50 because because it would be they wouldn't like the fact that they already had a sacrifice previous season. They would feel like they are being targeted. So I cannot sacrifice anybody from their house this season. So I need to find somebody from either House Kegney or Efferson, and preferably from House Efferson because they are at +10, while Kegney is at -10. But still, we don't know. Somebody here might be... let's try... There are a lot of unrepentant here, people here. Let's check Vasin. He's ignorant. So I think I'll take him because I will be testing if maybe he is the swindler. But then again, he'll be bringing up ignorance, which is good. Okay, so the last thing we need... Okay, last thing we need is somebody from House Efferson. We have Ivan, who is cowardly, who has a major vice. And sacrificing him wouldn't be a big problem. Can I? No, I can't. I was hoping that maybe I can use my one inquiry to check why Zaina is acting strangely. So I wouldn't lose one round because basically... how do I... They are at +10. Okay, so if I use this to check her vice, it will be only -3. So let's check her vice. Knows too much. Okay, we don't have anybody... I mean, we have Eden, who is penitent, but he's lazy, which I don't like. We have Ivan, who is cowardly, so he, although this is a major vice, he'll bring down fervor. But this is something I need to focus on this season, so I don't know if I want to. Let's check Hannah, because she is full of fervor, so she'll be working on bringing this up. But she knows too much, so she'll bring ignorance down. But I have in House Kegney somebody who will bring ignorance up, so that's good. But then again, we also have, let's send Zaina to be examined, so we'll know how she's acting strangely. Because if we send her to be purified when we don't know why she's acting strangely, I don't think it will work. And then we still have one space here. So let's confine Miesha. Behave yourself in the tower, Miesha. Okay, and because we don't know her positive trait, and here when she's examined, we'll be able to check what it is. We'll be able to learn what it is. Okay, so let's start and hope that we will bring up obedience and we don't lose too much of any other thing. Okay, let's bring obedience a bit up. And you know what? Let's take you to bring obedience up as well. And bring up discipline. Because she has a negative trait in discipline. So he'll try to zero that out. Okay, so let's try. Average outcome, that's alright. Obedience +7, that's good. And penitence -5, which isn't too bad. We know his traits, so we don't have an option to ask about anything in here. We'll bring up their satisfaction, so that's good. Okay, Rada. We don't know how much she brought up obedience, but we will try to learn. Huh? Timid. Not very much, but still it's a small plus, so that's good. But she brought down discipline a bit, which isn't perfect. But that's okay. Okay, House Cadul is being pretty satisfied, so even if the sacrifice is unjust, they will be dropped to like -20, which isn't too bad. Of course, perfect would be if they dropped only to -10. But, you know, that's just life. Okay, but we want to bring up House Yosefka because they are very dissatisfied. They will work on my discipline, but they will drop down in penitence. So I will also use Hannah to try to, you know, make it even a bit. Okay, but House Kegni is. So maybe instead of Hannah, because they are pretty neutral, let's use... But then again, I am at risk with obedience. So maybe I will use still Rada, hoping that I'll bring obedience up enough so it won't be in the red anymore. And we'll try to learn what's her negative trait here. He is disciplined, so maybe that will zero out what her negative trait is bringing. Penitence dropped down pretty significantly. Discipline. Oh my god. They are dissatisfied. Let's check. Sid! He's a swindler! I knew it! So we won't be able to use them anymore. Here. I mean, we will. We can use them. Obedience +5. +2. But why didn't... Oh, only 7 points. Okay, so... good thing is that I used her this time, but I think I'll have to use her again. But maybe we'll use Nadia instead. But she's stubborn and she'll bring down the penitence. So maybe let's use her. And I mean, I would love to use House Yosefka, but I cannot sacrifice Bogdan this time. I'll have to sacrifice him next time. But I need somebody else to sacrifice. Who do I sacrifice? So let's use House Cadwell. And let's use Efferson. They are -7. They are at -2. Oh shit, Kegni is dropping down significantly. Okay, but hopefully next season I'll manage to work on them. They are neutral. You know what? Let's use House Kegni instead. Penitence will drop. But hopefully it will be enough. Ignorance a little bit up, penitence a little bit down. I can try to ask them about his vice, but I don't want to, because we already found our swindler and we can sacrifice him next time. Discipline. Okay, obedience. Is obedience enough to pass? I hope. We can try to inquiry about his stubborn... No, we can't. Okay, but we brought obedience up enough so people won't rebel. But who do I sacrifice? House Cadwell, sorry. Because if I click on Bogdan Yosefka, uncertain virtue, it will bring down discipline down. House Yosefka will be outraged since they were selected last season. So, yeah, I cannot do that. I have to... but House Cadwell will be outraged since Nadia's transgression are forgivable because her vice is very minor. And my obedience will drop, so I'm not sure if I can do that. Maybe I can sacrifice Hannah. But they will be rebellious. They will be rebellious at -50. So I'll have to bring up House Yosefka and House Efferson. I'll have to work on those two. I cannot sacrifice Rada because we don't know how bad she is. And also there aren't many people in House Blackburn. I think we have 5 people in House Efferson. So we are also pretty risky with sacrificing Hannah. Yeah, I think I'll go with House Efferson. Because here ignorance will drop. I mean, we have pretty high ignorance. And here fervor will drop. We also have... You know, I will sacrifice Vasin from House Cagney. They won't be happy. They'll be rebellious. But I'll work on that. I'm sorry. Yes. And bam. Vasin was sacrificed. House Cagney approval -50. Other houses +5. Penitence rose by 5. Ignorance dropped by 10. We have Spring. House Cagney are defying my authority. I must appease them this season or risk revolt. Basically, if I don't bring them up to at least dissatisfied, they will rebel and I'm dead. Also, my penitence is below, let's say... Okay, we don't know anything about Miri, but let's release her and let's release this one. Zania is in hysterics. I'm not surprised, girl. And so let's leave her to be purified. And House Cagney. So we have Wendelin who is acting strange. Let's confine her. And basically they are not very happy. So let's take Jessie. She is disobedient, but we have obedience in the green, and she will be representing the family and trying to bring up ignorance a lot. And she won't be sacrificed, but Bogdan will be sacrificed. And I have 1 inquiry this time. But because they are dissatisfied, I don't want to use it at all. I mean, maybe let's try. Because inquiring about virtue doesn't cost anything. She's just, that's cool. And let's take Bogdan, unfortunately. And I'll have to work on their satisfaction as well. Too bad I haven't received any letters because they usually work wonders. Yeah, so we have those 2. But I think we'll work on the rest next time. Right now, thank you so much, my faithful cultists, for sticking with me, for watching the series. And I hope we will manage to survive long enough to experience the awakening of the Chernobyl, of our great old one. But for now, thank you so much again, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!